I wanted to ask you a little bit about um, how the Big Wave Tour came about, and then how would you describe it to the everyday person who does or does not surf?
Well, you know, I started surfing at 12, and I started organizing contests for my surf club when I was 15. I've been directing contests, and I knew how to do it, and then I started shaping surfboards at 17. So you're correct. Done most of it for myself, what I wanted, and what I couldn't have, I wanted to be able available to the next generation. Like we had no career path for professional surfing when I was a kid, and whether I was a good enough surfer to be a professional surfer or not wasn't an option. So I started making surfboards, which isn't a very lucrative profession, but to stay involved. But big wave surf, I was president of the ASP. I worked on creating the shortboard tour for 20 years. And I was on the board of directors since the beginning of the ASP and all the way to president. But when that was up and running, I was surfing Todos religiously. And one time we were out sitting by the campfire at night and let's have a contest, you guys. And there was about 10 of us. Everybody put up $100. We'll have $1,000 prize. Person will go out and surf for surf for the money. And that just started kicking the idea around and I got the opportunity to organize an event for the ASP that was gonna be a tour event at Todos Santos with
Mhm.
4 surfers, women and men, and I organized the whole thing. Took me, I don't know, almost 2 years to get it, organized, but there was a partnership deal coming up with CSI, which was a marketing company, and they were gonna merge with the ASP, and they were gonna be the sponsor of that event. And the surfers at the year-end meeting, didn't sign off on it, but we're waiting every morning. I Because of the time difference, I'd call Australia to the director and go, "Are we on or are we not?" Right up to 2 weeks before the event was to be held, they told me, "Nope, we're not gonna have it." So I had this whole thing, and then the International Surfing Association, the ISA, the next year said, "Let's do a teams challenge." So that was a year that Todos, Keeler Knox's 52-foot wave at Todos went all the way around the world, and he didn't even get to out of the semifinals. He didn't even get to the final, but going back to it was the biggest wave, he won, right? Even though he didn't win the contest.
Sure.
So anyway, we did 3 events. We did 2 at Todos, 1 at, um, Madeira, where 2, surfers from each country would come. We'd hang out for 3 weeks and pick the best day. And the last year at Todos, this group of, South Africans won, and they were sponsored by Red Bull, and Red Bull wanted to do an event in Cape Town at Dungeons.
Ah.
And they tried to do it one year and they couldn't do it, and those guys go, "Hey, you need Gary to come over. Call Gary over here." And so they had me come over. I brought 2 surfers from Mavericks, Grant Washburn, and to try and intermix that. We did that for 9 years, Red Bull Big Wave Africa. So it gave me an opportunity, and then I head judged at the Mavericks, gave me an opportunity to create a format, put a proposal together, and I went shopping it around, and shopping it around. And it took a long time before I realized that I had no proof of concept. Nobody was gonna pay for a tour if it didn't exist. And so, I was in South Africa and for the Red Bull event, and I went to see the movie, Breaking Down the Tower, which was a big how the IPS was created, and this light bulb went on in my head. I go, "That's what I'm gonna do." And there exists. I'm gonna link them all together, make a rating system, and crown a world champion. So I went to all the events that were existed. There was There was the one in Africa, there was Mavericks, there was,
Mm.
one in Peru, we there was one in Chile, and what I promised them is, we'll take 24 surfers, your best at 18, and I will bring the best 6 big wave riders in the world, and we'll create a tour, and from there, we'll have a rating system so that, if your surfers win, you can move up, and that's how it works.